The market was loud, filled with strange voices and the smell of smoke. Preachers from across the galaxy gathered under the bright lights of the auction hall. The stage was raised in the center, and one by one, broken lives were displayed for sale. Chains rattled. The crowd murmured. Each time someone placed an offer, coins were counted, and another soul was taken away. Then the hall grew quiet. The guards dragged forward a woman. Her skin was pale with alien markings, once beautiful but now scarred. Her dress was torn, her body weak. In her arms she carried a small child who clung to her chest. The child's eyes were wide, searching the crowd with fear. The auctioneer lifted his voice. "Here she is. A mother strong enough once, but now broken. She can still serve, though not without cost. Who will make an offer?" No voice answered. The silence was heavy, broken only by the cries of the child. The mother held the little one close, whispering softly to calm her, though her own eyes were filled with despair. The auctioneer tried again. "She may not fight. She may not work as she once did. But she can still clean, cook, or serve. Who will start the bidding?" A few aliens laughed. One said, "Too weak." Another spat on the ground and turned away. The auctioneer's tone grew sharper. "Come now. She is not worthless. She carries life in her arms. The child will grow. There is value here." But the crowd shifted with disinterest. Some whispered cruel words. Others avoided her gaze. No one stepped forward. The mother lowered her head. Her shoulders shook. She felt the weight of shame pressing on her like chains. For years she had endured hunger, pain, and cruelty, but this moment cut deepest of all. Not even one soul in the crowd wanted her. To them, she was nothing. The child whimpered, pressing its small face into her neck. She closed her eyes, wishing only to disappear. The auctioneer slammed his hand against the podium. "No one? Not a single offer? Must I remind you all she is still alive? She can still be used. Do not waste my time." Still the hall remained silent. The air was thick with rejection. And then a sound. A single pair of boots echoed against the floor. Slow, steady steps. The crowd turned. A human walked forward from the edge of the hall. His uniform was torn, the mark of battles fought. His eyes were tired yet steady. Unlike the others, he did not look at the mother with disgust or greed. He looked at her as if she were more than a price on paper. He stopped at the front, facing the stage. His voice was calm but strong. "I will take her." Gasps spread through the hall. Whispers rose. The auctioneer blinked. "You human? What use could you have for her? She is broken. Look at her scars. Look at her weakness. She is not fit for you." The human did not move. His gaze remained fixed on the mother. "I said I will take her." The mother lifted her head, startled. Her eyes met his for the first time. She saw no mockery in them. No hunger. Only a strange warmth she did not understand. The crowd erupted. Some shouted that he was a fool. Others jeered and laughed. The auctioneer tried to control them, slamming his hand again. "Quiet! Quiet!" He leaned closer to the human. "If you truly want her, then pay. What do you offer? Coins? Weapons? What is her worth to you?" The human reached into his pocket, then stopped. He had no riches, no treasures, nothing to give. But he raised his head and spoke words that silenced even the loudest voices. "I give her my name." The hall froze. The mother gasped, clutching her child tighter. Her heart raced, though she did not know why. The auctioneer stared in disbelief. "Your name? What trick is this? A name is not money." The human stood tall. His voice carried through the hall. "It is more than money. To my people, a name is life. A name is protection. If no one will claim her, then I will. From this day, she carries my name. She will not be broken anymore." The crowd murmured in shock. Some hissed with anger. Others whispered in awe. The mother trembled, unable to believe what she heard. She had been discarded, shamed, and left unwanted. Yet this man, a stranger, offered her something she had never known. The child peeked at him from her arms, eyes wide but curious. The auctioneer shook his head in disbelief, but the silence of the hall told him there would be no higher offer. He raised his voice at last. Then it is done! She is yours. The human stepped forward. Slowly, gently, he placed his hand on her shoulder. She flinched, but his touch was steady, not cruel. Come, he said softly. You are safe now. The mother rose, her legs weak but moving. The child clung to her as she followed him down the stage. The crowd parted, watching with mixed eyes of wonder and disgust. The hall buzzed with whispers, but none could change what had happened. For the first time, the mother walked away not as a slave, but as someone claimed with honor. And in her heart, a small spark of hope flickered. The night after the auction was heavy with whispers. Across the city, aliens spoke of the strange event. A human had stepped forward and claimed the unwanted mother. Some called him a fool. Others called him reckless. A few wondered if his act was something more. Inside a small shelter at the edge of the settlement, the mother sat on the floor with her child. A blanket covered them, though the cold air still found its way inside. Her hands trembled as she held the little one close. She could not forget the words he had spoken. I give her my name. The human, weary from the day, poured water into a clay cup and placed it beside her. His voice was calm. Drink. You need strength. She stared at the cup but did not reach for it. Her voice was soft, almost broken. Why? Why did you do this? He sat across from her, his arms resting on his knees. For a long moment, he did not answer. The firelight cast shadows across his face, showing the scars of old battles. When he finally spoke, his words were simple. Because no one else would. Her eyes narrowed with confusion. But you gave your name. That is more than any coin. Do you know what you have done? He nodded. Yes. I know. She shook her head. Her heart pounded with fear and disbelief. Among her people, a name was sacred. It tied families together. It meant loyalty, protection, even love. To carry another's name was a bond that could not be broken. She had been ready to vanish, ready to live her final days in silence. Yet here was a stranger, a human, offering her something more valuable than freedom itself. The child stirred in her arms, reaching toward the soldier. Tiny fingers opened and closed as if asking to be held. The soldier gave a small smile. May I? The mother hesitated. Fear told her to refuse. But something deeper, a faint spark of trust, pushed her to nod. He took the child carefully, holding it as if the little one was made of glass. His rough hands, scarred from war, were steady and gentle. The child giggled, reaching for his face. His eyes softened. You are safe now, he whispered to the child. Both of you are safe. The mother felt her throat tighten. No one had spoken such words to her in years. She turned her face away, ashamed of the tears that burned in her eyes. The next morning, rumors reached the marketplace. The auctioneer himself spread the story, mocking the human who gave away his name. A broken alien mother, he sneered to the crowd. And a human fool who thinks names are worth more than coins. Let us see how long his compassion lasts. The words traveled fast. By midday, the city buzzed with curiosity. Groups gathered outside the soldier's home. Some jeered. Others threw stones at the walls. They shouted insults, warning that no good would come from mixing human honor with alien weakness. Inside, the mother trembled as the noise grew louder. She clutched her child tightly. They will hurt you because of me, she whispered. The soldier shook his head. He stood by the door, his hand resting on the hilt of his old blade. Let them shout. They will not touch you. Her voice cracked. You do not understand. My people believe once someone carries another's name, their fate is tied. If harm comes to me, it comes to you. I cannot let you bear this burden. He turned to her, his eyes sharp but kind. It is not a burden. I chose this. I gave you my name because you deserved more than chains and shame. If they hate me for it, so be it. I will not take it back." The mother stared at him, stunned. No one had ever spoken for her. No one had ever chosen her, not when she was strong, and certainly not now that she was broken. Her lips trembled as she whispered, "Why me?" The soldier looked down at the child, then back at her. "Because you are still alive. Because you still fight to hold on, even when the world turns against you. That is worth more than gold." His words struck her heart. For a moment, she saw herself not as broken, but as something else. Something human. That night, the unrest outside grew worse. A group of aliens gathered with torches, demanding that the human release the mother back to the council. The soldier stepped outside, his figure standing tall against the firelight. He raised his voice so all could hear. "You call her broken. You call her worthless. But I gave her my name. That makes her my family. And if you want her, you will have to take her from me." The crowd roared with anger. Some pushed forward, but none dared to strike. There was a fire in the humans' eyes that warned of consequences. Slowly, the mob drifted back into the shadows, their threats left hanging in the air. The mother had watched from the doorway, her heart pounding. When he returned inside, she whispered, "You risked everything for me." He placed his hand gently on her shoulder. "No. I gave everything to you. That is the difference." She closed her eyes, letting the warmth of his words sink in. For the first time in years, she allowed herself to believe that maybe she was more than broken. Maybe she was worth saving. The road back to the soldier's shelter was long and quiet. The alien mother walked with her child pressed tightly against her chest. Her steps were slow, heavy with doubt. She could not understand why he had risked so much for her. Every few moments she looked at him, waiting for anger or cruelty to show. But he walked beside her in silence, steady and calm, as if guiding them was the most natural thing in the world. When they reached his small home, he pushed the door open and lit a lamp. The soft glow filled the single room. It was simple, almost empty. A wooden bed against the wall. A table with only 2 chairs. A shelf holding a few worn books and a small carved box. There was no luxury here, only quiet warmth. He turned to her. "You can sit. Rest." She hesitated, her eyes scanning the room for traps. Her kind had been tricked too many times, promised safety but given pain. Slowly, she lowered herself onto the chair, never loosening her grip on the child. The soldier filled a bowl with water and handed it to her. She stared at it, then at him, before taking a cautious sip. The cool water touched her dry throat. She felt her body tremble with relief, but also shame. "I have nothing to give you in return," she whispered. He shook his head. "You owe me nothing. You are free here." The words struck her like a blade and a bomb at the same time. Free. It was a word she had not heard in years. Yet she could not trust it. Not yet. The child shifted in her arms, eyes half closed with exhaustion. The soldier's voice softened. "Your little one needs sleep. Let me show you." He walked to the bed and pulled back the blanket. His movements were slow, gentle, as though he feared startling her. She hesitated, holding her child tighter, but then she saw the care in his eyes. With a shaky breath, she laid the child on the bed. The little one curled into the blanket, sighing softly, and drifted into peaceful sleep. For the first time in years, the mother stood without the weight of her child pressing against her. She felt strangely empty, unsure what to do with her hands. The soldier sat at the table, watching her without judgment. "You should sleep too. You look like you have not rested in days." She shook her head quickly. "I cannot. Sleep brings memories." His eyes darkened, but he did not ask. He only nodded. "Then stay awake if you must. But know that you are safe here. No one will come through that door without facing me first." The firelight flickered, casting shadows across the walls. The silence stretched between them. She looked at him, searching for lies. But there was none. His words carried weight, the kind that only came from truth. She lowered herself to the floor, sitting near the bed so she could keep her child close. Her body ached, but her mind raced even more. Finally, she asked the question that had burned inside her since the auction. "Why did you give me your name?" He looked into the flames before answering. "Because names matter. In my world, when you give someone your name, you promise they are never alone. I could not stand in that hall and watch them spit on you. You deserved more." Her breath caught. She whispered, "But I am broken. My people see me as nothing." He turned his eyes to hers, steady and unflinching. "Then your people are blind. I see you. You held your child when the world turned cruel. You endured pain when others would have given up. That is not nothing. That is strength." Her lips parted, but no words came. For so long she had carried shame, believing the whispers of others. Yet in his voice she heard something different. Not pity, not disgust, but respect. It unsettled her more than cruelty ever could. The fire cracked softly. Outside, the distant noise of the city faded into silence. The child slept, safe and warm. The mother sat frozen between fear and hope. The soldier stood and reached for the small carved box on the shelf. He placed it on the table and opened it. Inside was a simple piece of cloth, worn and faded, marked with his family's crest. He held it out to her. "This is proof of my name. If anyone questions you, show them this. It means you belong to my house now. No one can take you away." Her hand trembled as she reached for it. The fabric felt soft against her skin. She pressed it to her chest, tears filling her eyes. "Why would you give me something so precious?" He smiled faintly. "Because you need it more than I do." The tears spilled over, running down her cheeks. She turned her face away, ashamed to let him see her cry. But his voice came gentle and steady. "You do not need to hide your tears here. You do not need to hide anything. Rest. Tomorrow will be better." She sat in silence, her heart torn between fear and something new. A warmth she could not name. When her body finally gave in, she laid beside her child, holding the piece of cloth close. The soldier sat awake at the table, guarding the door, his eyes never closing. And in the quiet of that first night, the broken alien mother felt something she had thought lost forever. She felt safe. The morning sun crept through the cracks of the wooden door. Light spilled across the small room, warming the air. The alien mother stirred awake. For a moment, she did not know where she was. She had grown used to cold walls, iron chains, and harsh voices. But here, the sound was different. No chains rattled. No guard shouted. She heard only the steady breathing of her child beside her. When she opened her eyes, the little one still slept peacefully, wrapped in the soldier's blanket. The piece of cloth he had given her, marked with his family crest, was still in her hands. She held it against her chest as if it were the most valuable treasure in the universe. The soldier was already awake. He sat at the table, sharpening the edge of his blade. The fire from the night before had burned low, leaving only faint embers. He looked up when she moved. His voice was calm. "Did you sleep?" She nodded slowly, surprised at her own answer. "Yes. For the first time in years." He gave a small smile, one that carried both warmth and sadness. "Good. You needed it." The mother sat up, her hair falling across her face. She brushed it back, watching him carefully. She still did not fully understand this human. He had risked his place, his honor, even his safety, and for what? She whispered. "Why does your name mean so much?" He set the blade aside and leaned forward, resting his arms on the table. "Because a name is more than words. It is a promise. When I gave you my name, I gave you my shield, my loyalty, and my life. To carry my name means no one can claim you again. You belong to no master. Only to yourself?" Her eyes widened. The words sank into her heart like light piercing through years of darkness. "But you hardly know me." His gaze held steady. "I know enough. I saw you hold your child when all hope was gone. I saw you stand tall, even in chains. That is who you are. That is enough for me. Her throat tightened. She looked down, tears threatening to rise again. I do not know how to be strong anymore. My people see me as broken. I have nothing to give back. The soldier rose and walked closer. He crouched before her so his eyes met hers. His voice softened. Then let me remind you. You are not broken. You are alive. You have a child who looks at you with love. That is not weakness. That is strength. The mother's breath trembled. No one had ever spoken to her this way. She had been called useless, weak, and cursed. Yet this human gave her something she had lost long ago. Dignity. The child stirred and opened its eyes, reaching toward the soldier. He lifted the little one into his arms without hesitation. The child laughed softly, tugging at his sleeve. He smiled, the lines on his scarred face easing. Even your child knows, he said. You are worth protecting. The mother covered her mouth, fighting the sob that broke free. For so long she had hidden her tears, believing they showed weakness. But here, in this small home, she felt no shame. The soldier stood with the child in his arms. He looked at her with quiet determination. From this day, you walk with my name. Let the world laugh. Let them mock. They will never take it from you. Her hands clutched the crest again, holding it tightly as if her life depended on it. Your name is a gift I cannot repay. He shook his head. It is not a debt. It is a bond. Those words settled deep in her heart. A bond. She had been cast aside by her people, unwanted and shamed. But now she carried something greater than chains. She carried a human name, bound not by slavery, but by choice. That day, he showed her how to light the fire, how to boil water, and how to mend simple clothes. He did not order her or command her. He worked beside her, teaching patiently, as if they had always shared the same roof. She watched him in silence, wondering how someone who had seen war could still show such kindness. As the sun began to set, the mother stood outside the door, holding her child. She looked at the horizon, the sky painted in shades of gold and red. For the first time in years, she felt the world open before her. Not as a cage, but as a place where hope might live again. The soldier stepped beside her. His voice was steady. Do you see it? The horizon always reminds me that tomorrow is waiting. No matter how heavy today feels. She turned to him, her eyes shimmering. Do you truly believe tomorrow will be better? He nodded. Yes. Because you are not alone anymore. Her heart ached, torn between fear and something she had thought impossible. Trust. She wanted to believe his words, to let them fill the empty spaces inside her. Slowly, she whispered, Then I will try. For my child. And for your name. He looked at her with quiet pride. That is all I ask. As night fell once more, she laid down with her child, the cloth of his crest still pressed to her heart. She closed her eyes, and this time, her dreams did not carry chains or pain. They carried light. And in the silence of the small shelter, the bond of names grew stronger, a bond that would challenge the galaxy itself. The days that followed were filled with uneasy peace. Inside the soldier's shelter, life was gentle and quiet. The alien mother began to breathe without fear, though her heart still carried scars. The child laughed more often now, chasing the shadows of firelight and clinging to the soldier's hands. But outside, the world was changing. The story of the auction had spread far beyond the city. Whispers turned into rumors. Rumors turned into anger. It was not only the auctioneer who mocked them now. The council of elders had heard. The merchants spoke of disgrace. Neighbors gathered in corners, whispering about the human who gave his family name to an alien slave. Each time the mother walked to the well for water, eyes followed her. Some were filled with hatred. Some with disgust. None with kindness. She kept her head low, clutching the crest hidden beneath her clothes, praying the child would not see the cruelty in those stares. One evening, as the sun dipped low and the sky turned crimson, the soldier returned from the market with bread and fruit. His jaw was tight, his steps heavy. The mother noticed at once. What happened? she asked. He set the food on the table without answering at first. Then he said, "They are talking. Too much. They say what I did was a crime. They say giving my name to you is against their law." Her chest tightened. Fear pressed against her ribs. "Then I should leave. If they punish you because of me, I will go." He looked at her sharply. "No. Do not say that again. I gave you my name. You carry it now. Leaving will not protect me. It will only break the promise I made." Her lips trembled. She lowered her eyes. "You do not understand. My kind, we were taught that a broken woman brings only ruin. They will never stop until you regret your choice." The soldier stepped closer. His voice was steady, but his eyes carried fire. "Then let them come. I will not regret you." His words struck deep, both painful and sweet. The mother could not speak. She turned her face away, hiding tears that burned behind her eyes. That night, the crowd gathered again. Torches lit the streets. Angry voices rose outside their door. The child woke and cried, clinging to the mother's arms. She rocked the little one, whispering comfort, though her own voice shook with fear. The soldier stepped outside. His shadow stretched against the flames. The crowd shouted, demanding he release her. "Give her back to the council," they cried. "A human cannot bind himself to an alien. It is shameful. It is against every law." The soldier raised his voice, firm and unwavering. "You call it shame. I call it honor. You say she is broken. I say she is stronger than you will ever be. She carries my name now. That will never change." The mob roared with anger. Stones were thrown, striking the walls of the shelter. The mother pressed her child close, heart racing with terror. For a moment, she feared they would break the door and drag her away. But the soldier did not move. His hand rested on the hilt of his blade. His voice cut through the chaos like steel. "If you want her, you will face me first. And I swear, I will not let you touch her." The crowd hesitated. They had seen humans fight before. They knew the fire that burned in their hearts, the way they refused to yield. One by one, the voices grew quieter. The mob began to break apart, torches fading into the night. When the soldier stepped back inside, his shoulders were tense. The mother rose from the floor, her child still clinging to her. She whispered, "They will not stop. They will come again." He looked at her, breathing hard yet calm. "Then let them. I am not afraid." Her voice cracked. "But I am. Not for myself. For you. For the child. If harm comes to you, I will never forgive myself." He walked to her and placed his hand gently over hers. His touch was warm, steady, and full of quiet strength. "Listen to me. You are not my burden. You are my choice. And choices are not abandoned because they are difficult. We will face this together." The mother's tears finally fell, and this time she did not turn away. She let him see the storm inside her. "Why? Why fight so hard for me when the whole world stands against us?" His eyes softened, yet his voice remained strong. "Because you are mine now. And because when I look at you, I do not see the world's judgment. I see the woman who held on when no one else would. That is worth every battle." Her chest ached, filled with both fear and something she could no longer deny. "Hope." She pressed her forehead against his hand, whispering, "Then I will not run any more. If the world comes for us, I will stand with you." The child, sensing the calm in their voices, nestled between them and finally drifted back to sleep. The firelight flickered across their faces, binding them together not by chains, but by courage. Outside, whispers still spread. The council still watched. Enemies still gathered. But inside that small shelter, something stronger than fear was born. The bond of a name had become the bond of hearts. And the world, no matter how loud its hatred, could not silence it. The summons came at dawn. A heavy knock shook the soldier's door. When he opened it, 3 guards stood waiting. Their armor bore the crest of the council. Behind them, a messenger unrolled a scroll and read aloud. "By order of the council, The human and the alien woman who carries his name must appear before the chamber today. Refusal will be judged as treason. The mother's heart sank. Her child clung to her dress, sensing the tension in the air. She whispered, "They will take me away. This is their chance." The soldier placed a steady hand on her shoulder. His voice was calm, though his eyes were sharp. "No. They will not. We will go, but you will not stand alone." The walk to the council chamber felt like a march through hostile territory. Crowds lined the streets, whispering and pointing. Some spat on the ground as they passed. Others shouted curses. The mother kept her head low, clutching her child tightly. She wanted to turn back, to hide, but the soldier's presence beside her gave her strength. Inside the chamber, the council waited on high seats, cloaked in robes of power. Their eyes were cold and full of judgment. The leader of the council, an elder with silver skin and piercing eyes, rose to speak. "Human," he began, "you have broken our law. You gave your name to one who is not of your kind. Worse, you gave it to one who was cast away, marked as broken. Do you deny this?" The soldier's voice carried through the hall, firm and unshaken. "I do not deny it. I gave her my name, and I will never take it back." The chamber filled with gasps. Murmurs spread among the gathered crowd. The elder's gaze hardened. "Do you understand what this means? You tie your honor, your bloodline, and your future to her. You risk disgrace not only for yourself, but for your entire race." The mother trembled. She stepped forward, her voice breaking. "If it is my fault, let me go. Take me away, but leave him in peace. Do not punish him for pitying me." The soldier turned to her, his eyes fierce. "No. Do not speak that way. This was never pity. This was my choice. My name belongs to you now." The council leader slammed his staff against the floor. "Enough. If your words are true, then prove them. Tell us, before this assembly, why you would defy every law for her. Why risk your life and your people's respect for an alien mother no one else wanted?" The hall fell silent. All eyes turned to the soldier. He stepped forward, his voice strong and steady. "Because she is not broken. You call her worthless, but I have seen her strength. She carried her child through suffering no one here would endure. She faced chains, hunger, and shame, yet she still stood. That is courage. That is worth more than gold, more than law. You speak of honor, but there is no honor in abandoning the weak. I will stand with her, even if the whole galaxy turns against me." The crowd stirred. Some murmured in anger. Others sat in silence, moved by his words. The elder narrowed his eyes. "You speak boldly, human. But words are not enough. A name is sacred. If you truly mean what you claim, then you must prove it by blood. If harm comes to her, you will bear it. If shame falls on her, you will carry it. If death finds her, you will share it. Do you still accept this bond?" The hall grew colder. The mother gasped, shaking her head. "No. You cannot ask this of him. I am not worth his life." The soldier reached for her hand, holding it firmly in his. His voice carried across the chamber like thunder. "I accept." The mother's tears spilled freely now. She clung to him, whispering, "Why would you do this? Why give everything to me?" He looked at her, his gaze steady, his voice gentle. "Because you already gave everything. You gave your strength to your child. You gave your dignity to survive. Now let me give mine to you. Together, we are not broken. Together, we are whole." The chamber fell silent. For a long moment, even the council could not speak. The elder finally lowered his staff, his face unreadable. "Very well. If you choose this path, then know the weight of it. The bond cannot be undone. From this day, your fates are tied. Whatever comes to one will come to both." A hush spread through the crowd. The words echoed like a sentence and a vow at once. The mother pressed her forehead to the soldier's hand, her heart torn between fear and a love she could no longer deny. The child, sensing her trembling, reached out and touched the soldier's arm. In that moment, the bond was sealed not by law, not by counsel, but by hearts that had chosen each other. The elder's voice rang out once more. The trial is complete. You have chosen. Now live with what you have claimed. The guards stepped aside, and the doors opened. The soldier led her out, his hand never letting go of hers. The crowd parted in silence, their whispers softer now, touched by what they had seen. And as they walked into the light of day, the mother realized something she had never believed possible. She was no longer just an unwanted woman, cast aside by her people. She was a wife in all but name, a mother no longer alone, a soul bound not by chains but by love. The trial had tested them, but their hearts had spoken louder than any law. The council's words echoed long after they left the chamber. The human and the alien mother walked through the crowded streets with the child between them. The people stared, whispering, but none dared to step in their way. Something had shifted. What had begun as an insult in the marketplace had become something greater, something no law could erase. When they returned to the shelter, the mother set her child down on the bed and sat quietly by the fire. Her hands still trembled. She lifted the crest he had given her, tracing the faded lines of his family mark. Your name is heavy, she whispered. It carries weight I do not know how to bear. The soldier knelt before her, his eyes steady. You do not carry it alone. I gave it to you because we will share it. Whatever comes, we face it together. Her heart swelled with emotion she could not name. She had been unwanted, shamed, called broken. Yet now she felt something stronger than fear. Belonging. She looked at him with tears glistening in her alien eyes. Then teach me. Teach me what it means to live with your name. The soldier reached for her hand. His voice was gentle, but his words carried the weight of a vow. It means you are never cast aside. It means when the world spits on you, I stand in front of you. It means your child is my child. It means there is no you and me. Only us. The mother covered her face with her hands as the tears came freely. They were not tears of shame this time. They were tears of release, of a burden finally lifted. The child climbed into her lap, wrapping small arms around both of them, as if sealing the bond with innocence. Days turned into weeks. Though the whispers of the people never fully died, they grew softer. Some began to watch in silence instead of anger. They saw the human working beside the alien mother, building, mending, and guarding. They saw her standing taller, her scars no longer hidden by shame. They saw the child laugh freely in the streets, no longer afraid. One evening, as the stars shone bright above the settlement, the soldiers sat outside with the mother and child. The air was cool, and the firelight danced across their faces. She turned to him, her voice quiet but full of wonder. When I was on that stage, I prayed only for an end. I thought my story was finished. But then you spoke, and everything changed. You gave me a life I never believed I deserved. He smiled, weary yet proud. And you gave me something too. I fought wars. I lost friends. I thought my life would end in silence. But now I have a family. You gave me hope again. The child looked up at him with wide eyes and spoke a word that struck them both still. Father. The soldier froze. Slowly, he turned toward the child, his heart pounding. The mother's lips parted in shock. The child said it again, this time with a smile. Father. Tears welled in the soldier's eyes. He pulled the child into his arms, holding the little one close. His voice broke as he whispered, Yes. I am your father. The mother pressed a hand to her mouth, overwhelmed. She had feared her child would never know love, never know what it meant to be cherished. Yet here it was, spoken with pure innocence. She leaned closer, her voice trembling. You gave me your name. You gave my child a father. You gave us a future. How can one man carry so much? He looked at her, his eyes shining with a fire she would never forget. Because I am human. And humans do not turn away from those who need us most. The night sky stretched wide above them, filled with endless stars. For the first time, the mother did not feel small beneath it. She felt whole. She rested her head against his shoulder, the child safe between them. Word of their bond spread beyond the city, reaching other worlds, other races. Some scoffed, but others listened. Whispers grew into stories, and stories grew into legend. They spoke of the human who gave his name to an unwanted alien mother, and of the child who called him father. They spoke of love stronger than chains, of honor stronger than law. In time, even those who once hated began to understand. A name was not only a word. It was a promise, and promises could reshape a galaxy. The mother no longer walked with her head bowed. She carried his crest proudly, no longer as proof of survival, but as proof of belonging. The soldier no longer lived as a weary fighter. He lived as a husband in spirit, a father in truth, a man whose legacy was not written in battles but in love. And the child, once trembling in fear, grew up laughing beneath the stars, carrying both their strength. The bond of a name had changed everything. It had changed her. It had changed him. And it had begun to change the world.